Hi, Envoys. I'm Steve. I'm joined here with Jeff and Rosa. We're going to talk about concept art real quick because we're going to release a new piece today, which is really exciting. I'm going to ask each of you a two-part question just to make it more difficult to answer. And my question for Jeff is, what is the role of concept art, particularly on Soulframe at the beginning, and how is that different than how concept art works in something that's ongoing like Warframe?
Well, Warframe also went through this process when it was new, but concept art really lets you kind of it helps you formulate an idea into something tangible, and then kind of usually as a springboard to build more ideas off of. Like you and I will throw themes and ideas at the wall and usually throw them right at Rosa or right at Keith Thompson, who helped us out in the early days, to kind of take the themes and the motifs and the ideas we want to do and try to kind of make those into a cohesive visual idea. And then they were always really great to build and springboard off of. Something like Warframe, which is ongoing now, will have our established kind of art direction for each of the factions and whatnot. So the team becomes really familiar with those, and they can kind of, for something existing, the art teams are knowledgeable enough on that base because of the years of work that they can just build on it. And then whenever something new comes in that we're just adding to the game, that's when concept art really does the heavy lifting.
So it kind of sounds like the less you know, the more important concept art is to kind of answer that.
Absolutely.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's hard for concept artists too, because a big part of the process is rejecting ideas. You start to see ideas. I mean, it's just as important to reject ideas as it is to get positive reinforcement ideas, because it really helps you kind of get a clear picture of what you want and how you convey that to the rest of the team who build it. So it's not even like it's a failure. It's just the concept art is really helping people kind of clarify, what they want.
Right on. Thank you. Rosa, my question is, I know you're going to be doing art directing on Soulframe as well, but with the concept art that you've done to date, I don't know much about how you work or how concept artists work. So my two-parter for you is kind of like, what is the first thing you do when you're starting a new piece? And kind of like, what is the last thing you do to kind of finish it or finalize it?
Right. So first thing I do is imagining the world and the story I get, and try to picture walking around and see what my surroundings look like. So basically daydreaming during the day.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then try to clear all the unknown parts using all the real life examples and references. And yeah, that's how I usually start. But last thing I do is vibe check. I see if the art gives emotions, like if it feels sad enough or happy enough. And this process usually involves Jeff and Steve, right, and our Soulframe team's reaction if things are on the right direction.
So let's talk about the piece that we're releasing today, which if you decode the little cipher on there, it says Outcast. What's going on with this piece?
Yeah, so this scene was an early concept of our character's awakening scene by the sparrow. And initially, I wanted to give an impression of cold and a welcoming feel and like bleak.
Yeah, it comes across for sure.
Yeah, in this artwork for sure. But it was very wet and gross, cold vibe from this piece, since our character has been outcasted and fallen to the ground, but it wasn't the vibe we wanted to proceed with. So we had the new concept with the moose and the lake with more welcoming, warm tones. For sure.
Cool.
Yeah, and just to elaborate on what Rose is saying there, it's really like a kind of a short story of a rebirth, and seeing the original take on it, having a dark, heavy tone to the rebirth felt wrong, especially from where the player was coming from. And we really wanted that moment of awakening on the beach to feel optimistic and hopeful, and especially with the introduction of kind of life coming from the animal, from the moose. So the vibes just felt better to pivot in that direction.
Awesome. And the one thing I think, from my memory anyway, this is one of the earlier times where the sparrows started showing up in the concepts as kind of a gameplay idea and as kind of a guide. And I'm wondering, Jeff, if you can, give us the top level about what the sparrow's doing for the game.
For the immersion of the game, it kind of is a representative of your connection to the world and it's kind of the soul connection that you have with Earth and the animals. And then gameplay functionality wise, it's a companion, and it'll do things like, we really want this game to feel more grounded. So, things like using, instead of a waypoint, you'd have the bird being your guide in this world and helping you navigate it.
Awesome. So it's sort of an emphasis on immersion there.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. Well, I don't know. We don't want to, tip our hand too much, but I want to thank all the envoys for watching this, and thanks to you two as well for giving us some insight into this. And stay tuned, envoys, for much, much more in the future.
Rosa, we need more plushies in the background. Or maybe take
They always sit there.
They're watching you work. That's great.